Thank you so much, Mr. I received a phone call today from Alderman Askew. He will be unable to join us, and he said he may give a call. He hasn't called, so but he's with his family, and so we pray for him. And I think I got one other call. Well, no, I just got that one call, but he also mentioned that Alderman McCoy would be out tonight for training. And so in an effort of transparency, we've come on up so that we could record for tonight. And if he does call, I'll take his call, and whoever does, to listen in. And if he has any questions, I'll lead us in prayer. And if you don't mind, will you please also join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? Father, we say thank you for your faithfulness all day long and your faithfulness throughout this year. We thank you that you never change, and we appreciate so much the privilege that you give each of us to represent you in our day-to-day lives. And most of all, we thank you for the opportunity you give us to serve others. We thank you for the forgiveness of sin, and we trust you that you have given to us what we need to minister to ourselves and to others, and we're grateful for the opportunity to minister to you. Guide our minds and our thoughts on tonight as we prepare for the year of 2023. We ask, God, that you would be at the very forefront of all that we say and do, and help us to remember that we're here to serve in this community. And so we're careful to remember those who are poor, those who are hungry, those who are hopeless, and the very cause for which you've seated us in this position in representing you in the earth. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. We had a good last meeting, so I'm expecting that we'll have a good one also on tonight. If you will look at the agenda for tonight, the very first item up is none other than Mrs. Victoria Huggins, District Court. Greetings, Ms. Huggins.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, my treasurer, and most distinguished alderman.
You know what to say. All right.
As always, I'd like to just say I always prepare with these elaborate speeches about how much work we do and all of our products that come out of our labors. I just want to briefly go over what we have so far, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
What the total food collected so far this year, $570,873. Now, the dispositions that have been received are $643,000. Just to kind of touch base on some of the, like our Arkansas State Police citations, we've downloaded and entered in the computer almost 2,000. So it just gives you a little bit of a spot to show how much work that goes through district court. You know, we have several different departments, we have several different agencies, the Arkansas State Police, Camden Police Department, Sheriff's Office, the ACO, the Forestry, the Game and Fish, and even ABC. They have a hand in it when they come and do their sting operations. We also have people that file charges. We have 150 so far this year. And the list goes on and on. I know every year I come and repeat all the things we do. If you'd like for me to go through them, I'll be glad to. But I have all the totals that we have collected this year so far. And it's just every month we are amazed by the volume of work and production of the assets that district court has entailed. And the only thing that I have requested this year is a little bit extra travel and training. We had $800 in our budget, and I've asked for $1,500. It's not much, but we're trying to increase and get all of our clerks certified. We're going now that we're back open with COVID. We have a lot of classes scheduled for next year. And all of my team are inspired and interested. We're actually going, 3 of us this month just for a one-day training. It's going to be amazing. Everything, let's see, the telephone, it's gone up. I mean, so my bill's gone up. I have to get the $3,000, which the county pays half just everything is split, you know,
Just a moment.
yes, sir.
Will you call out the line number so we
Oh,
can
I'm so
follow it
sorry.
real
Yes,
quick?
sir.
That's line 52450, and we've already made it there. Let me just mention where you see the yellow highlights. The yellow highlights is where a change is noted. She cannot help the health benefits, retirement. She has nothing to do with those, and so she's going straight to 52450 telephone. Yes, ma'am. Pick up
Okay,
that.
thank you. I've actually got, I think, a different, I printed my own sheet out. The travel and training 52800. I'm requesting from 800 to 1500. Now, when we go down to 52915, that's the Arkansas First Responder, and it's listed as expense, but what it is, let me get the sheet real quick here. Okay, on the insurance tickets, when they fail to provide the proof, and then there's a motor vehicle liability fine that's implemented on no insurance charge. So far this year, we've collected off of that $1,285. That goes right back out to pay for the, police department, their, I can't think of it, their,
Body cams.
no, their, the vests.
Oh.
Yes, yes, sir, and so that's an expense, even though we collected it, it's going right back out, and that had to be altered because it was not correct as what we had last year. And we had, 52915, it's got $100, but we're putting 1,500 there because we've already collected the 1185 that's going right back out. And then, we are lowering, see, I'm trying real hard this year, I know how the economy is, and, try to help all I can to help with the city's budget. The automation software, lowering that down to 5,500.
That's not noted on mine.
Is that the one I called, messed up on this one, I think? The 52930, is that the one that's still 9,000? And that's just what comes in on the court automation fees.
Oh,
Every charge that comes into district court, there's a $10 a month fee that's added every person. And with that $10, we at district court, that stays in with the city budget, but it's only used for computer services. But we only get 20, it's split into 75% goes to the state, we keep 25%. But that's just the money that no one can then touch except for district court. That's for the software and computers. And this year we did use it because we had to get a new server and just seems like everything had to be changed at the end of the year this year.
So just, right now on our paperwork, it says 9,000.
Okay, that's correct.
Should that,
I stand corrected.
okay, so that,
Yes.
it should be
It
9,000.
should be 9,000.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Okay. The only other change that I've listed, and I hope this is all, is go down to probation, the 53100 office supplies. I'm asking from 500 to 2,000. Because the probation office is all city, and I'm using a lot of my budget out just to pay for their supplies.
I'm sorry, which number was that?
It's in the probation, it's a 011 department, but the 53100
Oh, sorry.
office supplies.
we have that listed as 9,000.
Okay.
No, she's on page 11, right?
Yeah, the
Oh.
probation division.
All right, I was looking at 53100.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
9,000.
Yeah, that would be under Department 010.
Oh, okay.
She moved us to 011, which is another department, another area.
Yes.
Same number.
Yes, sir.
So on Department 11, you get 53000?
Yes, sir,
Okay.
they're both office supplies, but one's coded out as district court and the
Okay.
other is the probation.
Okay,
division.
okay.
And the probation division is funded entirely by the city.
Right,
It's the only
okay.
department that, the rest of us are split down the middle, city and county. I did discuss with the mayor and Ms. Thorne several months ago. I'm always trying to come up for my team and ask for raises and everything, and I understand that I didn't even put it in the budget this year, because new with our economy and everything, and I do, understand that we all can't grant everyone a raise, so I did not implement it in my budget this year to try to, just understand that with the way our economy is, we just can't give the district court a raise and not give the whole city, a hefty raise. But I do have one favor, if I could ask you tonight. We've had 2 employees resign this year. The probation officer, we're doing interviews tomorrow, and then our civil small claims clerk resigned, and the ladies that are part-time, Miss Brenda Parker and Miss Janice Pettit, they have stepped up to the plate, and they have put in all the time there. They're there the whole time we are. And when we do the bonuses, if that is to be granted this year, they always we get half, and then the part-time get half of that when we do the extra Christmas bonuses. Is there a way I could please request that they would at least get what we get for the Christmas bonus, since they've been doing all this work and have volunteered their time and have really stepped up to the plate to be.
Does the county also do your a bonus?
Yes, sir, but that's why we get half from the city. Like if you got $1,000, we get 500, and then they get 250. So I'm just going ahead and throw that out there for you to think about, and hopefully honor them this year.
And how many is that, 2?
Yes, sir. They're the only 2 part-time I have. Yes, sir.
I got 2 questions. And one deal with that, I'm trying to think, so you had two empty slots that you've not filled, so you've got a lower payroll than you would have been budgeted.
Yes, sir.
So our bonuses would just pick up, and you'd probably still be under budget because
Yes, sir.
the full-time employees are not there.
That's
And the
correct.
people that have been working a little extra could get a little love for that.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right.
And one's been gone since May, and then the other was in September, so, but we do have interviews tomorrow.
Second question, back on the district court,
Yes, sir.
and I'm gonna call it 52,900.
Okay.
$17,000 was budgeted last year. Not sure what we're spending, but they budgeted the same. And you've got $9,000 for automation software, and this other one is contractual automation. What all, are you still automating, or did they finish automating, or what's going on with those
Yes, sir.
expenses?
The automation, office equipment, and software is that $2.50 off of the $10 fee that's charged to everyone. That's ours only. It's put in the city budget, but it's not part of the city budget. If that makes any sense at all. It's just held like in the bank here with y'all, but it's for the district court purpose only. Now, the contractual services that you mentioned, 52,900, is not part of the automation.
Okay,
And we've been building that up for several years, and this year, we really had to go in there and get most of it because of, and this, I don't know if this is on this, implemented in that.
well, it's looking like the budget would be that we wanna spend another $17,000 on contractual automation, and I don't know who's the contractor for that, or what it is.
The contractual services, it's all of my repetitive bills that I get that I have a contract with, like with my machines and with
So
my
like
computer person.
equipment leasing and stuff like
Yes,
that,
sir.
is
The
that what?
automation can only be computers and then the automation software can only be, if we have to upgrade our software system. They're pretty specific about it, but those 2 automations are just for district courts, what is being collected. If that makes sense.
No, that's what it winds up being, I was just kinda curious of.
Yes, sir. Now,
what
the contractual services, we've only spent almost 10,000, but, we could lower that some, I would say, to help out, since we're,
I'm just curious if the number, it's one of those things that's mandated, or it's just, we think we're gonna do this.
oh, yes, this is what's projected, and like the automation, right now, we've got in there, and we even have on the automation, automatic office equipment. The way I was explained to, and Mr. Fry, I hope you back me up on this, that's not sale fee, and this is just what's being put in the budget each year to show.
And I think the, computer repairs is gonna have that. Computer repairs?
Yes,
you
sir.
know?
That-
So it's just a reserve, so I mean, they do collect it, but it's gonna be $5 per ticket, and then it goes in the fund, only we spend on, computer repairs.
So there's a bucket of money somewhere that, has a surplus in it from
That's
this?
it right here. That's
It
the-
did, we had to get new servers for 3 computers, and it was like $8,000.
So it, and it does show up in the budget, it's just like, if the council said, well, that 17 there, we're gonna cut them into zero, and we're gonna give public works 17, we can't do that. But the council does have a budget, and does approve it coming in and going out, it's just.
So it's
that-
basically some kind of
it's just a
designated court
restricted
fund?
Restricted fund.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Do we have any more questions of, Ms. Huggins? Ms. Huggins, if not, you're welcome to be excused.
Thank you so very much, and I appreciate your time and consideration.
Don't forget to be here when it's time to pass it, though. Don't forget to be here when it's time to pass it. All right. Then now we're ready for the Public Works Department. And because of the size of this particular department, will you please call page numbers before you call the number if you change to another page for us? And are you gentlemen okay with going over the yellow parts, or do you want him to highlight the whole budget? Do you want him to go through the whole thing for you? Or would you rather he just explain the
Rather
parts
stick
that are
with the
changing?
changes.
Is it okay if he just discusses what changes? I'm asking. Yes.
All right, we are on page 41. And that is, line item 51220.
Yes, sir.
And that is the, my secretary in my office. We have different, events that go on in that building. And somebody has to stay there and babysit whoever we got. And I think
Now, secretary, you mean administrative assistant?
Administrative assistant.
Administrative assistant 1. Yes, sir.
Okay, we have to have somebody there to open and close doors and just make sure nobody rumbles through all of our stuff that we got, so that's what that number is there. And later on down the line, we may come back and X this out based on what you guys say about something I got later on in the book. Let's go to page 42.
Page what?
42. And it will be line item 59210. It has a 0 out beside it. But I think in the next couple of months, we're trying to get back into the public works building on progress. If we do get back into that building, the printer that we have at 625 will stay at 625.
That's right.
So we'll need a printer at 769.
How much would one of those printers cost usually?
I just caught this today, so I hadn't had time to go figure out.
Hold on just a minute.
Yes, sir.
You guys just bought a nice printer. You like what you have? And it was so much cheaper for them to go on Walmart.com that they ordered one for her and one for Mrs. How much was that? So we said $1,000 if you,
That's fair.
and it does everything, am I correct? All right, so it's a $1,000 machine
Okay.
that can do anything that,
You need.
yeah, like it's not a full business machine, is it? Is it full business or is it, okay. But it gets everything done.
Should we just write in $1,000 there?
Let me ask that,
I just done it.
can we, cause I kind of, we were meeting to bounce things
Right,
around
yeah.
to make sure we were okay. Can we add that 1,000, in writing for now and,
Yeah, I think I would say 1,500 though, just to the way down and then everything going up.
all right? Is there any objection then to our saying, let's just move it to 1,500 instead of 1,000? If we
I
save
agree.
400, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right?
All right, let's go to page, 45.
Hold on, are we finished with the And does anyone have any questions about his administrative office? That's gonna be this first part is administrative office.
I do,
All right.
and it goes to the contractual services 52-410,
What page you on, sir?
page 41.
Okay.
52-410, electric and gas. Now, this is gonna come up in several different departments, I think. And it has to do with our solar field, but this has got a budget of 0 for the, it's had numbers in the past, but it's 0 for next year. And I'm just thinking, at some point, we've gotta figure out this solar field credit. I don't know who understands that or who knows what we're supposed to get, but I think it's high time that we got an accounting for that, so we know what, of these credits or expenses go to what departments. You can't, the person can't manage the expenses in their department if they don't know what the expense in their department was. So does, anybody have an understanding of, which ones are supposed to go to the municipal building versus the public works versus the sanitation?
This building right now is, they're being at 625, right? And so it's zeroed out because they haven't needed it at 625 because it's come out of another account. But they're getting ready to go back to their building.
Also, on this one, the central garage has always been paid out of this line item too.
Yeah.
And so and you'll see in the central garage department where I changed it too.
So basically, just so I understand, for last year, this was what this line item paid for last year was 625 Adams. And in previous years, it also paid for the central garage over there.
It's mainly paid central garage this year.
Okay.
625 South Adams was on another.
But we have moved the central garage to another part of the budget.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why
I
it's
thought
been,
it'd be better like that, we definitely keep track of, under central garage department, this is what we're paying instead of it.
For
being
that
public
building.
works.
Okay. So, and that's why that particular item has been zeroed out, because it's just an administrative part and it doesn't have a building attached to it. Okay.
Mr. Franklin,
All right?
Yes, sir.
on, 52610, repair and maintenance of vehicles,
What page you on?
41, excuse me. What is that, which department is this referencing? Is this central garage, is this something different?
It's just, no, this here is just the one vehicle I drive.
Okay. And machine and equipment would be office equipment out, perhaps? Okay, all right, understood.
All right, I think page 45. This is central garage. We do not have a line item for, training for the central garage. And I don't know if it's ever been one on it. But we're in a situation now to where we get newer machinery, but we don't know how to fix it because we've never seen it, we never had it. And sometimes we end up sending stuff out that if we had some type of training, we can actually fix it in the house instead of putting it to Texarkana, Eldorado, or Little Rock. And as of right now, we have no training for the mechanics, and I think we need some training, but we don't have a line item for it right now. That's something you can have, is what I'm asking.
All right.
Agree. Yeah.
Would you like to, save this one, save yours for next time so we can actually come back with these things? These are fresh ideas.
These are some of the ones I caught that, I was going through line by line. I can, whatever you
I
want
mean,
me to do.
because if they can see it, sometimes it may be easier. These are fresh, we wanted to
We
bring
can
it.
run through it tonight and then I can go back for next time and input and
Yeah.
just,
I suggest we put in $2,000 for your training as a start. If you think it needs to be more, we can up it before we finalize, but
I agree.
that's a
I'm good
start.
with that.
With that,
Guys need to be trained.
yeah.
Yeah.
How much does mechanical training run these days?
Oh, I'm sure it varies on
Right.
what you want to get trained on, hydraulics or whatever you're gonna get trained on, something varies.
How long would it take you to research to know whether we're gonna take diesel, gas train, which are different things, or,
We need a couple of days to figure out, those numbers.
So, yeah, I agree with Ellie, 2,000 for now, and then when we come back and meet and with the budget again, if you feel it needs to be up, just let us know and we'll have that discussion.
So, keep going through it, right?
I can go ahead. They said do it, we'll do it twice.
I guess we can drop down the line item 53240. And I think that line and the line below it was somehow charged to the wrong thing, so that those would be swapped around.
Which one, 240 and which one?
The one right behind. Yeah, my eyes ain't real good, so.
260.
53-240 and 53-260.
I think we kind of charged stuff to the wrong line item. I think we got it fixed up now. We got it back online, but that's what that is. And if you drop down to 59210, that is, just office equipment under 2,500. And we just asked for $1,000 in case, whatever we need down at the, 769. Right now, we do not have a security system there. And, I think the storm toward the old cameras, we have some, but they barely work, if any. So that could be used for some type of, security system at the shop. All right, let's move on to page 49. And this is Park and Recreation. The only changes we have is, overtime, we went up just a little bit, and I think it's gonna, as long as we keep having to do different events downtown, whatever events we have to have guys out cleaning up, picking trash up, putting barricades out, putting them back out. For every event we have with the city, we the ones that do everything for it, so that was the only change, 15,000. And this is not on here, but I left myself a note. In some departments, we have a line item that says compensation for damages, like in collections. They have a line item if they mess somebody's, with a trash can, if they do something, we got something paid out. Parks does not have that line item either. And we weed eat up and down all the streets. We try to stop when cars come by, but there's gonna be a time where we don't make it. And we need something in that, division to pay for damages if we put a ding in somebody's car or something like that. So again, we don't have that line item in parks.
So how much are you guesstimating for that?
I actually put 1,000 down.
What, Attorney Frank, what is the city's liability for, like, if I'm driving down the road and, you know, a bush hog kicks up a rock and dings my windshield, what's the city's liability for that?
Well, very, very little, so they're evaluated on a case-by-case basis. It's really got to rise to gross negligence, because if it's just negligence, we basically go what's called tort immunity. So, now, let's say it's a vehicle we're driving, okay, our vehicles have insurance on them.
Right.
So if they're driving a vehicle, they're gonna have insurance, that would pay for a claim. But if it's a weed eater, pothole claim, we have had a windshield, we probably have 4 claims a year, I would say. Four claims a year. And one of them was the pothole behind the Cotton Belt
Yeah.
depot, old depot over there, that was more than just a normal pothole.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it rained down there, person could not see it at all, it had been there a while. There was another one that was, I think was on Truman Street, and in that case, someone had moved the barricades we had up, but we had just had the barricades up. So like in that one, we had taken due steps to try and keep something from happening.
Right.
But let's say that the barricades were moved and they just stayed down for 2 weeks, and someone hit it, it would be on us. But like in that case, someone said, well, they came through, they went in the pothole, and we checked, we had just been out there, the barricade was up, you know, so that's not on us because we're at least doing diligence, but we do have a few claims like that each year.
Okay.
Mr. Franklin, back on, let me get the number, page, 49. 51220 overtime. What all does that cover? Does that just cover, would that cover storm weather events?
It covers weather events, softball tournaments we have at the park, First Friday, not Daffodil, Juneteenth.
Okay,
Anybody that wants to
Okay.
have some in Carnes Park, they have it Friday, Saturday, and they leave trash, and we go down, we could say, hey, we'll get it Monday morning, that really won't work. So we go ahead and go out Saturday morning, Sunday morning, and get whatever they left and clean it up.
And it's
understood.
also that sometimes when we take chairs downtown,
Downtown,
if we have to rent out Carnes Park that Saturday, someone has to stay there till 9, and after 9, begin to grab the chairs that we can to take back to set up the next place. So we can't move until approximately 9 o'clock.
so it'd be really great if First Friday just bought their own equipment, because we move them from Carnes and Our Park down here, unload them, shuffle them around, come back, pick them up, take them back to Carnes, Our Park, and we do this for every event that we have, so. It'd be good if somehow they had their own stuff that we wouldn't have to transport back and forth over and over again for everything that we do.
All right, sir.
All right, page 53. This is the swimming pool. I think a couple, meetings ago, Mr. Lindsay said it'd be wise to earmark $500,000 of ARPA money, I do believe, for, and I know this is not about, this is the city council, but it's still, we're gonna go to work on getting the pool in better shape. We gotta start soon. Is that still something that's on the, table?
Would be, I mean, certainly one of the, I would say, one of our bigger priorities. There's be a lot of wants and needs between the fire department and the public
Yeah.
works and everybody else, but that's, if we're ever gonna fix it, that's the money to be used to fix it. I wish I knew what it's really gonna take to get it back going, but I would say that we ought to earmark at least that much, for it.
Mr. Franklin, when do you plan on, contacting repair people for the pool?
As soon as I know that we got some money, I don't wanna start a fight and we can't fight it.
Well, I mean, just get some estimates so at least we'll know.
I can do that soon as tomorrow, cause of course, every pool's closed now, so those guys are looking to go, find something to do. So I can get some architects here to come and design it a little bit better. Right now, it's not real efficient on how it's set up. I'd like to knock some walls down and do some different things to make it more efficient. We got a lot of unused space in bathrooms. I think we got some urinals on the wall that nobody used the whole year. And they're out of date, they're, 20, 30 years old. I think Mr. Lynch came and looked at them, I took him on a tour through it, and we can do a lot better than what we got. I admonish you, if you guys got any time to come do a walkthrough, please come do a walkthrough.
We walked through it one day, I remember.
Yeah.
The pool itself as a structure and the, pipes, equipment, is that, how would you classify that? How would you explain that?
The pool itself is in good shape. The water department helped us out quite a bit, and we learned some things that we didn't know. And we got Glenn Mechanical to come up and, swap out some pipes for us, but the pool by itself ran as good as it ever ran this year. If you drove by, it was the right color, all my chemicals were good all year long. So the pool ran well. The biggest part of it is the building, needs to be done. I do wanna paint it, once we, empty, I do wanna paint the bottom of it. But the pool ran absolutely great. It drains now. I don't think it had drained in 20-some, 30 years. So we got it draining the way it's supposed to drain. So I think the pool is gonna be good. It's just the building beside it.
So out of that $500,000, it's not, that's probably be more earmarked for the building, you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
not necessarily the structural pool. Yes, sir.
When it comes time to paint the pool, hopefully our athletic commission has been able to report back to us. We may want to consider painting race stripes in it in case we can get a swim team and maybe bring people into Camden,
That'd be great, 'cause
that would be great.
now, I do wanna also consider, and I don't know if we could get somebody to do it for, I actually asked Mr. Dawson about it last time we talked, the trees around the pool, they don't serve a purpose to us at all, except for damaging our chemicals. If we can somehow get them trimmed back, cut down, that would make it visible from the highway for people riding by, but right now, all they do is, cost us money. When we get the dirt and leaves in the water, and we're having to add different chemicals to it, the price of chlorine is crazy.
But just like with the street plan that we have, we still want to work with those disc golf guys to make sure that we keep some of what they need to make that work too. Yeah. So whenever we do the streets, we always have to go through the water department, because if we fix the street and the water department is getting ready to come back and fix the pipes, then it's silly to do it, and so we're having to work with other people the whole time we're working to make sure we're not double working.
Well, I would say, from my thinking, I would say out of that $500,000 or whatever, that getting a price, and I'm unless Mr. Ben gets real energetic and wants to get in that bucket truck again to cut those trees, that we put in the budget something to get most of those things taken down, because like I say, they're a nuisance where the pine straw's blowing in the pool, and you can't see the pool when you drive by. It's really an attractive thing when you drive by and see down that blue water. It's nice, and so it would help us two ways, I think, but it's gonna cost some money, because you're working on that slope, and it's not gonna be a cheap thing like just cutting a tree out in the field.
I agree.
If, we are spending money on the pool, might I suggest looking into, and we discussed it before, some fencing?
Yes.
Some new fencing for the pool, because some of it, it's like, granted, there's that one fence that was there, that really tall one that was there when the basketball courts were there, and we don't need a 16-foot high fence, or however tall that thing is now. And, we do need fencing there, absolutely, but I think we can, if we're spending a little money, maybe find something a little more pleasing to the community.
Okay. And I'll
Barbed
go
wire.
back.
Preferably not barbed wire.
All right. Page 67.
Maybe an electric fence. Right, for the pool. I'm sorry, what page?
67.
67.
This is the street
Did
department.
you skip 65 on purpose? Or?
No, I
Okay,
did
but
not
there
have
is a,
street cut permits.
yes, sir. It's a highlighted area.
Well, it is a highlighted area. And
That's
that's,
the revenue for street cut permit.
yeah, that's the revenue for it. That's what I kind of want.
I got a question back on 54.
54.
Yes, well, no, that's the wrong one. I'm thinking about the grass cutters, don't I?
Okay.
Yeah.
67.
All right?
There is not a line item, and this is the street department, and we have our maintenance supervisor, who is James Vince, who does a really good job for us. We have street lights out that when they go out, lightning hits, storm comes through, we have to go out in those big gray boxes you'll see beside the road. We go work in those to get the lights to do what they're supposed to do. Well, several of those guys are gone now, so I need to send James Vince to get trained on how to do these lights. We need more than one guy to know how to fix lights. So there's a travel and training with $1,000 in it, and that will send James Vince, but I also want to give him some type of HVAC training. Right now, any small air conditioning problem, we have to call them in, and they are not cheap. And we call them in several times a year to come. I know that we spend a lot of money on the tech building with air conditioning problems, so if we could get James Vince some basic HVAC training, he may be able to save us a bunch of money down the line. The stuff we're calling out for, some we could have fixed in 20 minutes, and we spent $500 on it. So right now it's $1,000. I don't know how much his training would be. That would be something I'll do some research on to get him some HVAC training. Mr. Wooten may have some ideas. Mr. Wooten, for some HVAC training for James Vince. And I think he'll save us a lot of money down the line with that type of training. Yes,
On that HVAC training, you gonna try to do this after hours or during working time?
Probably during working time, depending on where we are,
I see.
you know. And we have to see who, if somebody's around here, we have to travel to go get some HVAC training, but, that's just something we hadn't done here. I guess every time we had an issue, we just called Gatlins, and we called Deans, and we called, and that stuff is expensive. And I think the type of guy James Benz is, he'll save us a lot of money in the long run, knowing small things.
Mr. Franklin,
Yes,
have
sir.
you tried the, SAU Tech for different types of training that may be available out there?
I've looked at a few of them, and, that's gonna be something we look into. 'Cause
Okay.
they give us, I think, are they free there, am I right?
Some of the classes they offer for little or nothing for us, city workers, so.
You know, HVAC is one of them.
I don't know that HVAC is one of them, but OSHA and some of those are some that we can do in-house or get out there for free, so. But I don't know about HVAC.
All right. I think that may be close to all of my changes. If you guys.
What about page 68? The line item there is 59410 toward the bottom.
Machinery and equipment.
That is the wish list we got at the very back of this booklet. There's a wish list at the very back. If you notice, the capital outlays are empty on all of them. On every department, if you go to the very back page, there's a wish list that will go with those items. It just depends on how generous you guys feel when it comes out of this list. So we did plug that in.
Mr. Franklin, have you prioritized,
Prioritize.
were these prioritized in terms of top to
I
bottom?
got to prioritize on mine. I had to
Okay.
prioritize on yours.
Okay.
And I can do that. But that's the line I referred to right now, on, page 68, 59410. That's what we're talking about. We did plug those in because obviously we're not gonna get everything on our wish list. But, what I'll do is before we leave tonight, I'll get a copy and have it prioritized and I'll give it back to you guys.
Look, question about the, now this, we're talking street, right? Okay. What is a wheeled loader at $315,000? Is that a front end loader or what?
Yes.
Front end loader.
Yes.
Dump truck.
Right now, the bucket truck, we go borrow the county on a regular basis to do everything we have with street lights, putting up Christmas lights. The one we got is outdated, we can't find all the parts to it, cause it's just, you know what your model is there,
91, I believe.
and it just, yeah, it's hard to find parts. So now the county is general state, we got a good relationship, we run, get it, they borrow our water truck, we borrow their bucket truck.
Now, the last thing on your list is the Kubota bush hog and the bush hog, 36,000. Is that just the bush hog or is that the tractor too?
That's the whole thing.
Okay, so didn't we buy a new John Deere here just last year?
We have a sidearm,
Yeah,
and we have the sidearm that reaches up, and we have one that we do on the side. This was the pull behind. For different locations, you need one on the side, and you need one you actually pull behind, depending on what job you're doing.
So they give you a total of 3 bush hogs?
Yes, sir.
For the record, I don't know how I feel about.
I just got to ask, what is a
91
Maverick?
Vintage.
What is the matter? Wheel.
No.
Wheel.
More than that.
Truck, I mean,
It's a truck, yes.
okay,
Yes, yes,
a
yes.
small truck.
Yes, we're trying to get away from the trucks that we've been buying. That's a smaller truck, a little bit better price on it.
If it does the job.
We got caught in that storm without 4x4s.
Yes.
Have we been at all able to answer that, challenge?
How many 4x4s we got now, Terrell?
We have 2 right now, and I have 1 on this list and sent to the education department for next year.
So that's a plus, because that almost decapitated us in that last storm. So we've been shifting to the 4x4s, yes, sir.
And now, I'll be honest, even with 4x4s, we had one last year. We had y'all's,
My personal truck, I tried in the snow, even with low tire.
the what's the name truck, the truck that Frank drive.
Yes, the F-350.
We had that got stuck. I use my personal truck to pull our work truck out. So even with that type of snow, even with 4x4s, it wasn't working.
Yes, sir.
I know the 4x4 is good, got one, but do you plan on using chains on some of the vehicles as backup?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope that we don't see that again. I don't control that, but I hope that we don't see that weather again for a while.
In our discussion, if you don't mind, you did mention that if you had to narrow it down to your top three, the front end, well, the wheel loader, as it's called on here, is a must. The dump truck is a must.
And trash truck
And a trash truck is a must.
residential truck, yes, sir.
And so all of these are big line items. So when you look at that, we're already 315 plus 315,000 plus 200,000. Say the other one again. You said the dump truck,
The residential loader?
A residential truck.
residential truck, and 270. So we're already at yeah.
6, 7.
Those, but just for purposes there, those are two different dedicated funds. They're not part of the general fund.
Yes.
They each have their own fund that that's about.
Mr. Franklin, you got another repairable dump truck, if we, on this page, I guess, 30,000. First of all, how many do you have, and what's wrong with this one?
Dump trucks?
Yes.
We have, I do believe, 3 dump trucks. And what's the earliest date?
I've got your list from that email back in.
They
where
are,
they were broken.
they are really just all out of date.
Yeah,
They are,
the one that I have listed there for repair is I wanna say a 95 model Peterbilt, the rear ends are gone out in. And we would have to send to a shop, because these are custom rear ends that they don't even know what they are.
Okay.
They have to start it all over.
I admonish you again, please, just come by one day and peek me in on us. And, just come by. If you get 10 minutes, I can give you a tour in 10 minutes of everything we got in the yard. And we've done a great job replacing. I mean, hats off, we've done a great job building that, but we still got a long way to go. We still got a long way to go.
Oh, yeah, and our other dump trucks, remember, we had the engine locked up in it about 2 months ago.
So how many dump trucks you got operational now?
One, really.
And for you guys, under sanitation, you see that 2023 road truck, what that is. So sanitation picks up trash throughout the whole city. They take it back to the landfill, they dump it in, and we compress it, it goes in the 18-wheeler. We then take that 18-wheeler to the landfill and smack over it. Have you guys ever been there? It is up on the hill,
Oh, it's a mountain.
it's up on the mountain, and you bag this truck up on this mountain, come hell, high water, rain, you bag it up. What happens is we get stuck, not just us, everybody. They use their big bulldozers to come drag us up the hill so they can open our back doors. When we get ready to leave, we're still stuck, so they have to use the bulldozer and push us back out. So we're constantly welding doors, but that is the only way you can do it, only way. So it's a lot of wear and tear on this truck, a lot of wear and tear.
So when you say road truck, what exactly type of truck is it?
That's the semi set.
It's a semi.
Okay, that's the semi. Okay,
Yes.
so basically this is buying a semi.
Yeah, we had one 2017, and this was a 95 that we're having trouble getting parts for. It's got 700-something thousand miles on it.
Mr. Frank, if you exceed, I guess, what we're able to give you, I mean, on your wish list, what you're asking for, $500,000, 3/4, do you think that some of the municipal surplus, their equipment will be functional enough to consider it even, or you wouldn't even want to consider that?
I went to Municipal League last year, and I think Mr. Wu was with me, and he gave us a list of what he had. He had a lot of stuff, there's not a lot of stuff for us.
Okay.
It was stuff for, somebody, we get it here, it ain't guaranteed it's gonna work in
Okay.
6-7 months, to be honest. A lot of things work for us.
And we also have military personnel who work for us, who are able to go to some of the bases and go and get stuff from there, and none of it is on this list. It doesn't mean that they don't have nice things.
Yeah.
but it's just not on this list.
Surplus is kind of pick and choose, you get lucky sometimes, but very seldom you're late. And if you see something, you have to be there that day to get it, or somebody else is getting it before you.
The good stuff will go quick.
All right. If we're ready, sir, are there any more questions so far? We're up to page, what, 78,
Oh,
79?
I'm sorry, one quick question on, because that's the streets, right? Are we still keeping the 600,000 for street paving? Is that,
It's actually 300,000, isn't it? And then we got another 300,000 this year. It's six? All right.
six is in the budget.
All right, and then we'll have 300,000 from street aid this year, 2023.
Yes.
We applied for a grant, and I applied in 2019, but we just got it in 2022. And so now that we have it, that'll be 900,000. I was wrong.
Now, it sounds like a lot. The 300,000 ain't gonna go very far.
Right.
We have already allocated that to the street you live on, Miss Brown. Forest View. We already took the guys out there, and there's several sections that need to be done on Forest View that hadn't been done in a long time. So that's where that money is gonna go to.
Well, some of the issues I think for us in trying to keep up with streets, and I'm glad we got to come to this one. When people harvest trees on streets that are not built for harvesting, if that street was built for just regular citizens to drive, if a business just start harvesting trees, they break off all the edges and they tear up the road, and the citizens are angry and upset because we're not able to bring that road to the place that it needs to be. But that's a different type of road. You got through streets, you got different kinds of streets, feeder streets, all kinds of streets in our community. And it's been difficult because with the amount of tree harvesting that's been going on Omega, out at Forest View, and some of the other areas, we're not able to keep up with it because we don't have that type of equipment. And so when they're doing it, there's nothing we can do about it but wait until they're finished and hope we can find the money to do it. It'd be a terrible thing for us to fix that street now. If they start back to harvesting a couple weeks later, it'll be just like we've never been there. And we probably can't come back to that street for maybe another 4 or 5 years.
Got a couple of questions.
Sir?
On page 67, comes back to that electric and gas. The street department is getting budgeted $120,000 for electric and gas. Now, aren't they working out of the central garage?
No.
No? Where,
Let me get to
Street.
it.
it's 52,410 on the street department, page 67. And I'm just curious, okay, where's the bill where we're paying $120,000 of electricity and gas?
That's for street lights,
Say it again?
the street lights.
Oh, that's the street lights bill?
That we don't have lights on.
Hold on. Before we leave tonight, I will be able to present to you or to let you know that these are the streets that our men, our personnel, I should say, have tagged just over this week, and each of these now have, if you will, a confirmation number right there. So we have proof that we have literally turned in every one of these streets. That's the address near the site, near the light. That's the confirmation number. We have done, there's not a space missing on this page. Now the space, the bottom of this one is still open. But over here, this one is almost filled. We've turned these in, and Mr. Wooten, myself, Ms. Yolanda, and Mr. Director Franklin sat down at a table with Entergy and another representative. And so I think Brother Ben was faithful in giving him y'all's word on not paying the bill. And we kicked the ball a whole lot further down the field. They're going to do a blitz in our community where they're going to come in and get as many of these as they possibly can. However, they've changed it again on us to say, go on a map and mark every single light pole on a map. And we've already tied the thing around. That's how we got these. So we did the first thing they told us. Now they've changed to a third thing. We had one form that they sent to Ms. Yolanda and a whole different form that they sent to Mr. Wooten. We're working through all those changes, but we have gotten a runaround a little bit, but this is a confirmation number with the street address. They'll be without excuse because you can't change it one more time. This is everything they've asked us to do. We've sent it in 3 different ways, three different ways, and we're doing 3 different ways now at one time to ensure that nobody can get out of this one.
Yes.
Okay, well, back on page six, well, that's good, so at least we know what that, I couldn't figure out, well, what building does that go to, that's all, of electricity. Page 67, 52,920, the streetscape project. Now, we had budgeted 53,000 this year, apparently we've paid that, but we're budgeting 125,000 for next year, and what is that gonna do? What scape is
In this-
streeted?
In this next phase, I think we started talking about how bad the sidewalks were over by Native Dog.
Yeah.
And so we agreed already to match, when we add to it, that we were going to match. And so it's going to be 125, but I assure you that we're getting a whole lot of traffic on that side. And we do need to expand even further if we're able to later, even if it costs us, because we're getting a lot of traction in our downtown area. But we've agreed, and this is the matching part. I'll need to be excused for just a minute. Go ahead.
Well, let's see, we're matching, do we have a grant for this, is that
I
part
want
of
to say Travis,
I know that they applied for it.
Okay.
I want to say Travis has a grant and we're
I
just
think it's
matching.
an 80/20.
Yeah.
Right.
And we do get back, but this year, we've only gotten back for 1 phase so far, because they said the paperwork got lost in the mail, but Travis is working on it, I did get him everything else, he needed it again.
Is this something that the A&P money can reimburse us for, match us for? I mean, or is this just solely our cost?
I would, yeah, cause I think A&P is only parks, and these are not parks.
Okay, flip over to, let's see. Okay, I was gonna ask about on page 68, the next page. Now, we've got street improvements there, and we decided where it says 600,000 for the 23 budget, you're actually gonna add 300 to that.
Yes,
After the grant.
Yes.
With the grant.
With the grant money.
yes.
So, the next line down, 59,320, they're saying streetscape improvements, 403,000 was our this year's budget, we're saying 403,000 again. I don't know if it's a real number or just got stuck in there. What are we streetscaping on that deal?
I'm not look at that, it is streetscape.
You know, we got streetscape project on 67 and then streetscape improvements on 68. If you were not taking those curves out that are in everybody's way, I agree with it.
I
But
think the 52,920, the streetscape, that's the engineering, contractual services, that's just the engineering. That's why it's been 50 in the previous years, the engineering separate,
Okay.
contractual service, and then under capital outlay, streetscape improvement is the actual matching for the grant, for the physical, street improvement.
well, why is it the same amount for this next year as it was for this year? I mean, did we do last year's? Is there a new thing for this year? I guess it's,
Yeah, that I don't know.
I guess the question is, why are we paying 125,000 for the engineering this cycle when we were in the 50s last cycle?
I can make sure that we do get your answer, but I think we just decided to add in the phase with Native Dog Brewery. That was not the original plan.
I thought that was the next phase we were going.
That is the
That's
phase.
the next phase.
That is the
Yeah.
next phase.
so it sounds like it's a $600,000 project. We can take the 125 and then 400, or I don't know if they've got a real bid on it yet, but
But
that's
we've
an
already paid
expensive
for
side.
We've already paid for the engineering for the last phase, so I'm just a little confused on.
Let's bring back an answer, even if we're talking about something next time.
I'd like to, I'm gonna say, before I'm gonna vote yes for a $600,000 expense. That's not that long a sidewalk. I'm just,
I do know, from my understanding, it was supposed to go from where it ended, up at,
yeah, by the corner.
by Jenny's Gym.
Yeah.
It was supposed to go down to Native Dog and then go across over to up Madison.
Well, that's what I wanna see, well, okay, what are we getting for our money?
Which is a fairly long.
But if you make the corner
Yes.
wrap around, that's a different deal. I just
yeah.
don't know that that's what we're getting.
Right. If I remember correctly, because he did come about, what, a year?
It's easy to talk
or
about it
two
when you
ago.
got a bid for it, it's a different deal.
He did come and explain when we first gave him the go-ahead to apply for the
So
grant.
we'll bring him back and ask him to bring a visual aid of that to a workshop, and we'll be able to look at it together. All right? Yes, sir.
All right, we can get to page 85, which is disposal.
There are no significant changes anywhere else up until 85.
No, sir.
Does anyone have any questions or challenges up to 85 at this time?
I would ask about one, and it's hard to see it when you don't have the whole thing put together, but the first line up there at the top of the page, 43,500. It's got
What page is this?
79, solid waste. It says, we put in there transfer from general fund. Now, that's what we did for 2022. I'm guessing, and I don't know if that was in the general fund departmental shuffle or whatever. It was in there, so okay, so that's in the thing to transfer it over to this fund. Okay.
All right,
Yes, sir.
page 85, I think the first two highlighted is health insurance. Ms. Robertson handles all the first two things that changed.
That's a formula that we don't control.
Yeah.
All right? Keep going.
And if you move on down, the telephone, I think it's the same. If you move down to travel and training, those guys, in disposal have to go yearly and get their license updated to run a landfill. You have to go to classes that say you take, yearly to keep them updated. And we just, I think their price went up just a tad bit, so we asked for just, I think $50 more. And a consulting engineer up under, they went up 500, so we added just, that to make it even 7,000.
What does the consulting engineer do?
They tell us how high we can go, and they just give us the rules on how to run a line. That kind of pushes us around a little bit. And that's something we pay every year to them every year.
State agency?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, page 59. This is the tech center, I guess this is the first time we've really had this on the
Yes, yes, sir.
What,
So you'll notice that this particular portion is yellowed out on page 59. And the reason being is that before OPED ran the building. And as a result of that, it was taken care of another way. Now that the city has assumed this particular building, we're having to budget properly for the building. You'll notice in 51-110, we're asking for a salary there, and I think someone's already been in contact with you about it, Alderman Menzie. And we want to make sure that no one made under that 25,000 that we were trying to get everybody above. So we figured out what that number would be for a salary there. You on 59 with us? All right. And so then you'll notice that also for the overtime, we'll have to plan accordingly. Whatever we can get done in the daytime, we will. But that $100 that we were talking about earlier on the administrative assistant 1 in Public Works Administration, that would fall now to a regular salary for under the overtime rather for a person who actually manned that particular building. The rest of those are formulas, of course, like we said earlier, that we don't control, you have to do those types of things.
And I don't think that would add to the budget. My theory on it was, we have, I think, 16 spots for the street department. My thought was to take one guy from the street department, take that person away, add the person who would be sitting in the tech center, so it wouldn't add to the bottom line. He would just take one and move them over here.
Just move the desk
Basically,
from one place to another.
yes. So we wouldn't add to the final bottom line of that.
So,
Mr. Franklin, on, page 59, 52,450, you had quite an increase in your telephone bill.
Yes. You want to help me out with that, the telephone bill for the tech center?
That is, we have to pay for the phone down there, so we have a phone. And that has been coming out of the public works admin line item, that's why we're adding 600 for this coming year. Cause if they're gonna leave that building, then we'll still have a phone there.
Right now, our phones they ring at 769, they're transferred down to 625. Once we move back, that won't happen, everything will stay at 769. And I think we'll see a drop in a lot of things once we all get back in one mode. And I do believe that is.
so I have a question. Go back to page 69 for me. Which position?
69.
Yes, sir, 69 and 59. I have them sitting right beside each other. Which position were you suggesting to give up, of your list of positions here on 69? Which position are you willing to give up?
I could either give up a community service coordinator or a street maintainer too. That makes sense.
It does, which one?
Yeah. Right now for community service, we only average one person every other week. It's not something that happens continuously. We probably can get rid of that whole position.
Which one?
And community service coordinator. And allow that person to transfer those monies to the Texas.
All right,
So that's pretty much a wash.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. Attorney Fry, if we rid ourselves of that, we could just make a decision if we ever needed to bring back that, right? So it's just a decision, we make those decisions, ain't nothing that forces us to.
No, yeah, you can bring it, yeah, the council can bring it back. I would think it's also possible, I would think some of those duties would be done by the, admin assistant that's gonna be down there at 625. Because they're down there answering the phones, so you got a body down there. I don't know if the community service coordinator is, what is that, put stuff on Facebook so people know which streets are closed?
No, the community service, that person normally takes the
Oh, you told, okay, I got you.
people in trouble around
Service,
pickup
right.
trucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, community service.
Right, yeah, it's not, yeah.
Gotcha.
I didn't, right, okay, that makes sense.
So again, right now, we average one person every other week, so that position is sort of non-existent. So we can, again, so we don't have to add more money, just swap that over to business tech center and keep it moving.
So are you in agreement, just in general, that we could use it as a wash and just rid ourselves of that, just mark out that particular position for now, and that'll make it easier for us?
Yeah.
All right, so let's shift that.
Chris looks like he wants to say something.
Well,
No, I'm talking about something else, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
in the past, haven't you had people do community service at the shop?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so,
So even if we do get 2 or 3,
We can
you
work
can
it out.
still work them.
yeah.
Awesome. Yep.
Yes, I'm totally agree.
In your list of employees, when the summertime comes, using part-timers for grass cutting, weed eating, or whatsoever, did you cover that in here? Did I miss that or what?
Do I use part-time or community service?
No, I said, did you cover that? Did I miss it when you was going through your explanation of your employees?
Say that was in parts, wasn't it?
Believe it or not, I only have part-timers in, there's no part-timers with us again.
Right.
We made them all full-time, so I think sanitation has 1 or 2 part-timers out there. That's it, we don't have a part-timer in parks anymore, everybody's full-time.
Okay, let me try this way. So you have enough, employees full and all part-time to cover your summertime activities like grass cutting, et cetera?
We do, and I say that kind of softly. We can never keep up 100%. I thought we could, but it's virtually impossible to keep up. So to say we have enough to keep up and stay ahead, that answer would be no.
Okay.
But we have enough to keep it going. We can never catch up and say, we finished, we got 2 days to do nothing. That is not gonna happen, so.
Okay. I just didn't see it, listed, just a question.
All right, thank you. Yes,
Well, so they're up to the bottom of, 59, so we don't have the income on here for the tech center. So the income sheet will be separate, but I think with transfer to authority, what we're doing is we're collecting all of the rent out there. We are returning to, Port Authority 10%. And it looks like last time we had a good month, it's less than $1,000 that we received in income. So it's gonna be less than about $10,000 we receive a year for income. And then 1,000 goes back to Port Authority.
and what is the process, I guess, if we wanted to up or look at a new way of looking at those contracts at some point? Because I know it's a service we offer,
Right.
which is a good thing. However, $250 is just extremely low. Light, gas, water, everything included, a business
We
suite.
have, right, so it was the Port Authority that was setting the prices, it's the city that
So
sets the prices.
Port Authority.
No, the city. City.
So this
Since we have, right, with the new resolution and the agreement with the Port Authority, the city rents out the building, rents out all the space, and turns over 10% of the gross rent. But
Okay.
the city is in charge of how much we want to charge, for the next time one comes up.
So I'll make a proposal on that then. All right. So thank you. Yes, sir.
Well, if you're through with those, I don't know what are. I would go back to the solid waste just a minute, just one
What
quick
page is
second.
that?
83, solid waste, the collections. Just notice back to this list of equipment, there's basically $500,000 of wants left out of the capital outlay.
Yes.
And so just pencil that in, don't think that number, like I say, it's a big missing number. And I was gonna ask Lauren, is there some of that $500,000 of want there for sanitation that could be paid from that city equipment fund, where we have the designated things? That may just be for the general fund, that works, where you buy equipment and stuff with that reserve money.
I think it's just general.
Okay, all right.
Right, but there is, so if you look at page 43, there is something that needs to be adjusted a little bit. So page 43, there are 2, line items, so this is public work administration, so there's 2 line items there, 59,460 and 59,465. And I have an ordinance number there next to it, ordinance 2307.
Yeah,
So that is the public safety tax that we talked about last month.
okay,
And so, in the original ordinance, it was $75,000 to be put in an equipment fund for public works.
okay.
But the 75,000 was not coming out of the taxes. It just was in the same ordinance as a minimum, that because we've got this extra tax,
Right.
because that tax is gonna be used to offset salaries and equipment for police and fire, that there will be $75,000 placed from the general fund to help pay for equipment. And then we came back and amended that, from 75 down to 65. And so in the previous years, that has been in there, but since it's not really coming from the tax, it's not like we're getting an extra $65,000 if we use public works. It's gonna be on paper to say, okay, there's 65 every year that comes out of the general fund. But it's really just coming out of the general fund. It is not coming from the tax. It's not a separate, revenue stream. It doesn't count. I mean, we really just moving money around to our equipment. As we said, it's $750,000.
But it
We'll-
basically
We've
doesn't,
got a 65 fund, but that's.
but it's
coming out
not,
of the general
it doesn't
fund.
go to solid waste or the street department. It
Correct.
doesn't, it's,
It's just, it's.
yeah, it's general fund money.
Yeah.
Okay.
For public works, that's right.
All right. We have a little bit further to go. If you remove your hat for just a few more minutes, sir. What is your, so that finishes up that. Finance, then. Are we finished with public works?
Yes,
Finance, then, because I missed it. The finance administration.
The only couple things on ours, I had to change the salary just a little bit because my assistant did get her, 1 year increase, so that ups the budget just a tad bit. And on 52800, I did up our travel and training to 2,000 for this year. And then contractual services, upped it to 8,000.
And what all is your contractual services?
Contractual services is like our, we really pay for the computer services for the whole building. It all comes out of my department.
Computer services, like your software for your, does that cover your software or
Like,
is
we
it?
have a contract with John Ship.
This is the actual hardware, computer, screens, keyboards and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
service
Okay,
agreement, that kind of stuff.
gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha, okay.
So that's the only thing that
Hers is kind of simple, isn't it?
changed.
All right, I'll run through mine. If you have any questions of her, challenges, anything, that was too easy, wasn't it? All right, so let's move then to, finally to the, to public administration. And as you'll notice, there weren't a lot of changes on this one. I am asking that we would consider the fact that some of my people, some of those who are working with us, I should say, particularly our city clerk has stated to me today, and I just got the information today, that if we'll go by the ordinance and put the, what's it called, human resources in the administrative office, that she doesn't need a raise at all. She just wants that human resources. We agreed that the assistant mayor would be responsible for human resources because they were not elected in one of our previous meetings. And so she said if we move that back, but I just got that this afternoon, so I didn't have time to reflect that. And our office manager is another position. So what we did was, and I didn't print it off, but I do think you should be aware that I looked at the city clerks around our community. I looked at city clerks with a similar population, thank you, with a similar population. And even though they do not, some of them have more industry in their city and some other things like that, just the sheer numbers. Now Malvern is booming over there. However, with city clerk, Magnolia didn't turn their information into the municipal, well, the information is not on the municipal league page, I should say. And Malvern is at an average of 53,000. Arkadelphia was at 38,000 and Camden was at 31,000. And she said, if we do that, don't worry about her. I also looked at the same thing with our office manager, and we weren't able to find a lot of numbers around, but our office manager now is at 35. It says 34,701. The actual number, because of the monies that they were given, is 35,505, I think. I didn't write it down, 35,505. And ours just so happens to be a person who has served as an alderperson, and she's almost invaluable to us. And so I did want to look at what others were getting, and the average has come out to be, well, around 41, but it was 48,000 again in Malvern, and again, we're at 34.7, but we're at 35,505 to be, because of the most recent things that we've done. And so mine is also not fully done, and so I'd like an opportunity to come back again, because I was finished with ours until today, really. And so the new information kind of threw me back. So we have, and if you don't have, we have the compensation schedule that we've been working on to make sure that we are getting, we had agreed a few years ago that we were going to get our compensation schedule, and we're going to make sure that we all had the job descriptions agreed upon. When we had the meeting where we were supposed to do it, only 2 alderpersons showed up. And it's no indictment against you, but it's just simply that it's a process that in order to hold people accountable for their jobs, we all kind of need to know, I want all of us to know what those jobs are. So we do have the job descriptions, and we do have the compensation schedule. And at some point, preferably before next year, I'd really like for it to be soon that we could actually agree on all these things with all of the changes that we've done. We've changed the pay rates and everything. And so we need to look at it one more time together. And I'd like to set aside some time that we will look at it together. Now, this compensation schedule is from October 2022. And the problem that we're having is that the way we did the last system of 25 cents, 50 cents on the dollar, it brought some of the new hires in above the poverty level, but at less than some of our current employees. So it is suggested that we adjust the sections that, and Mrs. Donna's trying to work with Alderman Lindsay now on some of it, because a lot of it was largely an idea that he had about helping us get our pay rates up so that people could have a livable wage instead of just a job. And so she's going to work with him a little more closely about that. But I need a commitment that we're going to look at some of these rates and honestly consider moving forward with job descriptions for every person who's working, and a new pay schedule in a booklet so that all of us can just pick it up and know where we are and how we're moving forward. So we've done our part. I just need buy-in from you guys, because you're over the purse strings. So I need your buy-in.
Well, we need to do something, I think, and Donna has given me a little schedule here tonight that I can kind of study over a little bit and try to see how it works. I know she had told me a month or so ago that the deal that I drew up, we passed back in the summer for that increase, had some complications with it about how it worked for each of the different categories that we have. And you could have a misunderstanding on some of it. So, like I say, let's give us a chance to iron some of that out.
So in our next meeting, we do need to discuss a couple more anyway. So if we send it all to you early, and it'll probably be a little bit of reading and a little bit of printing, because it'll be job descriptions. It'll be excessive. And there's no way that we could come here to read. So things that you would expect are the things that you could probably write on that piece of paper that we could add or whatever, to make sure that we were able to have the pay schedules as well as to know what the job descriptions were. And it'll be a lot of printing. Some of it will be duplicated. So if you will allow us to email that much, it would really help us quite a bit, because that'll be redundancy. An assistant, administrative assistant in this would probably be similar to an administrative assistant in another department. So it'll be redundancy. All right? Do you have any questions or challenges? I do want to come back after I speak with our interim assistant mayor and Ms. Stewart and the city clerk. And I also want to make an audience with Mrs. Robertson to talk a little bit more about what we'll do about some of the other persons' salaries that we are concerned about. But we also want to present to you tonight that if we were to bring in and do a 1.3% COLA for all city employees at the rates that we have now, it would be 74,000. Give me the number.
820?
Who? 74,820 bucks. And that would be a COLA raise across the board. That's everybody. 1.3%. So we're kissing $100,000
Forever.
for every person. But everybody's rising at one time, so we don't have to go in and
Right.
figure out positions again.
No, I said forever.
Forever?
Yes.
Every
That's
year.
78,000 every year in perpetuity.
No. We don't have to.
Yeah,
do it.
because we're not gonna give it to them one time. That
Well-
pay raise lasts forever.
Okay, so what is there different?
Now, I'm just wanting to make sure we all are on the same page.
Yeah.
That's $78,000 a year forever. Well, until next year when we bump it again.
Yeah.
Pay raises don't go down.
Right, they never go down. Nobody ever volunteers to cut their own pay.
So we're locked into, if we say 1.3 this year, we are locked in forever at 1.3 every year. Wouldn't we have to vote?
I think the difference would be, I guess one way of looking at it is if you said, we're giving everyone a bonus this year
Right.
of 1.3%, and the total 74. And you said this is kind
Yeah,
of a
that's a
one-time
one-time fee.
deal.
Right.
When you say it's a COLA increase, you know, we're setting new salary levels, which is really better because that way you have realistic salaries on hand where everyone knows what they're really making. But next year, their starting salary is including that 1.3. Now, you're not locked into giving them another 1.3.
Right, but that 1.3 is their new pay forever.
And next year, all the salaries will be raised up by,
74,820
next year's salary.
bucks every single year.
No, not compounded.
I know, but it would be.
Right.
Just meaning next year, right.
You have
next year's
additional
starting
expense
salary,
each year.
They get that salary expense next year.
Well, I guess that's something we do need to think about and consider, and that's a lot to think about right now.
I got one other
Yes,
item,
sir.
and y'all may have done it, we haven't looked at the revenue side. You know, that's the other side of this equation is, what do we think's gonna come in? We're probably not gonna get ARPA any money for next year, so we have to be frugal with that. And, anyway, that's what I'm gonna say, I don't know if y'all have,
Revenue will be on the next one. I didn't get asked about the agenda for tonight,
okay.
and so the revenue wasn't put on there.
Do we know what the courthouse says the property taxes are gonna be and some of that stuff, or, okay, so anyway, I'm just saying that's something being looked at that is a vital part of the,
Depends on who our new treasurer is gonna be.
Amen.
Treasurer? Court, the county.
Oh, yeah.
That was a sneaky. That could have gone either way, sir. All right, so, woo, you scared me. Okay, so.
What?
Yeah, so, first thing, we do have, city council has been moved from the 8th to the 15th, in respect of the election night. And on the 15th, we can then set the date for this next one. I want to try to make sure that you have access to job descriptions as well as the other information as early as I can get it to you so that you can actually look over it. And we can consider it as a team ourselves. I want to mention one more time that we